You're listening to Sister Stargazers, celestial and terrestrial observations and advice from two real-life sisters. Hi, welcome, fellow stargazers. The sisters are in the house. Hi, Jude.
Hey, Sara. It's so good to cahoot with you.
More cahooting. We're looking at episode 11, everybody, Sunday, November the 21st, 2021, through Saturday, November 27th. And Jude, where should we start?
Well, happy Thanksgiving time.
Happy Thanksgiving.
So there's a lot of potential in this time because we are between eclipses.
Ooh.
We've had an eclipse on the 19th. That was a full moon eclipse in Taurus. So the sun in Scorpio, the moon in Taurus. There might have been inklings before, during, after that you were processing something, that some reaction, your sense of feeling, emotional reaction to something has become clear. You are seeing a picture that you may not agree with.
Right.
You're acknowledging hurt parts of yourself that might be ancestral. So that Scorpio time is a very deep dive. And with the eclipse there, you may be feeling or processing or acknowledging that there are these emotions. As we move into this week of Thanksgiving, we are in a eclipse sandwich. So we're in the middle. It's the midpoint. So we had this eclipse on the 19th. We have this week, and then we have the week following with another eclipse, a solar eclipse in Sagittarius.
Right, because we're leaving Scorpio and we're now entering the sun in Sagittarius.
Right. As the week opens, the sun moves into Sagittarius on Sunday. And then Wednesday, Mercury moves into Sagittarius. And then by the following week, on the 4th, the moon will move into Sagittarius and line up with everybody.
Right, because a solar eclipse happens at a new moon time, so the sun and the moon are in the same degree in the sky.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, got it.
So that eclipse we can talk more about that, but basically the sun and the moon are in the same degree.
Right.
And from Earth, you can see the moon eclipsing the sun.
But in the meantime, we're in this sandwich period.
Exactly. And we talked about maybe an analogy of a sandwich, so we have...
appropriate for Thanksgiving.
We have the bread, the bottom piece, which is this eclipse that happened on the 19th. And then we have the middle piece, which is all the stuff that came up. And then we have the top piece, which will be this eclipse in Sagittarius.
I love it.
So what we do with the middle part, do we grill it? Do we broil it? Do we, panini it? Do we,
add mushrooms?
What do we do?
Which condiments are we going to throw in?
Right, exactly. So,
yeah.
So all of that is right now where we're at. We're building our sandwich. And the piece that's really important during this week, because people might have time with the holiday, is to begin envisioning.
Okay.
Because of the sun into Sagittarius, Mercury into Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is about taking a higher view of things. It's about expansion and envisioning and not worrying so much about the how it's going to happen, but just allowing yourself to envision, imagine a larger view, a larger worldview. It could be anything.
Okay.
So what eclipses do is they take us from one place to another. They're big choice points in our solar year. And sometimes it's like, going through a gauntlet. Sometimes it's as easy as turning a dial. But what happens is something changes. Your circumstances, your opportunity, your sense of freedom, your sense of loyalty, a risk, something changes so that you are propelled into a new situation of some kind.
Okay.
So it's all about what you do with your sandwich this week.
That's a great analogy.
It would be really, really helpful to make some time to just process, even if it's just a few minutes to journal or just to envision, pie in the sky. What would it be like if...
Well, and speaking of skies, today, one of the cards I drew for our meeting is number 17 of the tarot deck, The Star, which is about wishes and making wishes and gazing up at what could be possible, gazing towards the future, envisioning, and like you said, not necessarily having to have the how, just sort of putting the what out there. And we had talked about, too, that gazing into fire, so a candle, a fireplace, a star is a ball of fire, and wishing and envisioning for this eclipse that's coming up.
Right, to be ready. It's a preparation time.
Preparation time. Oh, I love that. Just to carry that analogy further of like preparing all the stuff in the sandwich to go in. That's, I think I'm just eager for here in, the United States, Thanksgiving.
Right.
But, traditionally too, Thanksgiving Day can be very tense for a lot of people because it is a coming together and you're hearing different opinions, yet you're all sitting around a table. And you had mentioned on Thanksgiving Day, which is November 25th here in the United States, that the moon has an opposition to Saturn, but it's also square Uranus, and navigating this tension.
Yeah, that Saturn-Uranus square has been in play all year. We've had 2 exact hits already, and we'll have another exact lineup in December. Like they've been in and out of aspect. They're very slow movers. They would be, going forward, going backward, going forward, kind of playing in the sky, but they all hovered around a square aspect to each other. So they are all within, a couple degrees of squaring, which will become exact next month. So what happens on Thanksgiving Day is the moon in Leo lines up exactly opposite Saturn, and then the moon in Leo exactly squares Uranus. So it's highlighting that Saturn-Uranus square in a very personal way on Thanksgiving Day, which can be a little
tense, tricky.
Yes. Because you've got these impulses of loyalty, which is Saturn, versus an intention to a sense of longing for independence. I mean, there's just this irresolvable tension.
Yeah.
If you can sit with that, like you don't have to resolve anything. Like we're talking about this envisioning process, this week of envisioning before this new moon solar eclipse in December on the 4th. If we can just sit with that, kind of like uncomfortableness just for a little bit. And, you may be activated by things that people say to you.
Absolutely.
Especially at, around this time when there's all this mix of these different opinions at the table or in the house, or that you really be careful to not be activated by these opinions, or just hold your core, sit with yourself, and just try to navigate.
I'd like to offer a self-care tip. So in the past, we've mentioned, just putting a hand on your heart, putting a hand on your navel. And I'd like to encourage people that these are subtle things you can even do in the moment. So if you find yourself engaged with someone, just standing and just sort of resting your hand on your heart while you're hearing a lot of stuff maybe you don't want to be hearing. Another tool that I like to use sometimes is to take a hand in your other hand, and with your thumb, you rub your nail bed from the tip of the bed towards the tip of the finger. It's kind of casual. It's not like you're doing an exercise. It's not like you're bending over or stretching. You can very gently, with your hands in your lap, take your right hand and embrace your left hand thumb and just stroke the nail bed of your thumbnail. And then you can go down your fingers, and it just brings a little calm into your body of just those pressure points under your nails. And nobody has to know that you're doing a calming exercise.
Exactly.
You're just stroking your hand. So there are subtle ways that you can stay grounded and in your core, and you don't necessarily have to excuse yourself and hibernate in the bathroom for 20 minutes, that throughout the day you can just practice very simple grounding and, of course, breathing and releasing of breath.
Thank you. That is really, really helpful.
Yeah. And it's also, too, even with these difficult aspects, a time of gratitude. And it doesn't have to be a huge expression of gratitude, but remembering this week that even in the midst of these tense times, we can still be grateful for whatever you want to be grateful for. There was a poem that I had in my bedroom as a little girl. I think I got it as a confirmation gift, when I was like 7. And it was just a little poem, but I remember it, said, "Thank you, Lord, for each new day you give to me, for earth and sky and sand and sea, for rainbows after springtime showers, autumn leaves and summer flowers, for winter snowscapes so serene, harvest fields of gold and green, beauty shining all around, lilac scent and robin sound, stars that twinkle high above, and all the people that I love."
That was beautiful.
Yeah, and it was really great. It was this big white poster. It was like my first poster, and it had little kind of cartoon drawings that illustrated leaves and robins and everything. So I was thinking of that today.
Wow.
There's a Thanksgiving prayer you can offer at the table this week.
Yay. That's beautiful, Sarah. Thank you. The other thing is, at the end of the day, on Thanksgiving Day, the moon squares Mars. So
What does that mean?
well, it's another indicator that tension.
Mars is going to be pushing us to activate.
Exactly. Mars in Scorpio is like, like I'm going to do something about these feelings. So the moon, the moon in Leo's all like, can be very self-righteous.
Sure.
I'm the best. I'm the
Right.
king of the forest. I'm the best. So the moon square Mars in this case is not the best aspect for, kumbaya at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Just be careful. Mars in Scorpio is like, wants to just spout out everything, it's just like a fire hose. It's not a very graceful expression of water.
Yeah.
And the moon kind of, being the moon, wants to get at those feelings and, express itself in Leo, and just not a good combination. So
not a good combination.
Just be careful. It's just a cautionary advisement. Yeah.
Good advice anytime we're gathering with family, I think, especially this week.
Yeah. Thanksgiving is just, I just couldn't believe the aspects when I saw them. I was like, oh my God, this is like, to highlight the Saturn Uranus square on Thanksgiving is just mind blowing. Like, thanks a lot, universe. Like,
well, if maybe not the not so subtle way the universe is going, all right, here are the issues. Here they are, friends. And are you going to look at them? And are you going to be able to respond in a mature way and just or are you going to fly off the handle? Are you going to run screaming from the room? Are you going to throw the turkey bone across? It is an invitation from the universe.
Exactly.
But also an amazing time to be thinking about the bigger picture. And not to get dragged down in those low vibrations. There are higher vibes, a calling.
Yeah, exactly. And Vesta, Vesta's in Sagittarius.
I love Vesta is one of my favorites. Tell us a little bit about Vesta.
Okay, well, Vesta was the last of 4 major asteroids to be discovered in 1807. The asteroids Ceres, Vesta, Pallas Athene, and Juno were all discovered in that early part of the 1800s, and it coincided with the organization of the women's right to vote, or the rights of women in Seneca Falls. That whole period in there was like a 30-year period with Susan B. Anthony and some of the the really early suffragettes. It's not just the turn of the 20th century when the women got the right to vote. Right. They had been working on this for 75 years.
Exactly. And Vesta, mythologically, Vesta was the goddess of the hearth. And you might remember Vestal virgins who tended the fire.
There was a temple just to Vesta.
Okay.
There was always a fire burning in that temple, because without fire, there was no civilization. So she was the goddess of the hearth fire, which was the most important aspect of ancient times, because you couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't do anything without fire.
Exactly.
Fire warmed you. It cooked your food. It was sustenance. It was life. So every year they had a fire festival. Everyone came and took a piece of the fire from the temple, lit on some kind of torch or something, and brought it back to their homes. So as goddess of the hearths, it connoted hospitality and the basic vitality of the home or the city-state. Her astrological symbol is the flame.
Right.
She's the brightest of the 4 asteroids.
So Vesta's coming up. She's playing a role?
Yeah, she's in Sagittarius.
Okay.
And she'll be within 2 degrees, 3 degrees of the sun and the moon at the time of this new moon solar eclipse on December 4th.
Okay.
So Vesta is saying she's bringing her energy. What are you dedicated to?
Yes.
What is it that you are dedicated to? Who are you dedicating yourself to?
Your energies,
Your energies, exactly.
your wishes, your desires.
Right.
All right. Go Vesta. So we're going to hear more from Vesta as we approach the solar eclipse in December.
Yes. And you should be kind of, feeling her now. So it's also about like, what are you releasing? Like, what is it that you don't need to give your energy to anymore?
That you can toss into the fire.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, I just want to say, stargazers, we're thankful for you for listening as we wrap up this episode. Jude, I'm thankful for you.
Oh man, Sarah, this has been the best to hang out with you. I just love it. And I'm so grateful for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm grateful for you. Sisters are the best. Fellow stargazers, have a wonderful Thanksgiving week. Wherever you are, take a moment to stargaze and firegaze and get your wishes ready.
Yeah.
You can find us on Podomatic to like and share. You can share direct on Podomatic.
And on Facebook.
And on Facebook. Please stay in touch and let us know what's working for you.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thank you for listening.
Happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you next week.
Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Sister Stargazers. Let us know what worked for you this week. Find us on Facebook and post a comment at Sister Stargazers.